Hey, good afternoon to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early. It's 1 p.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. It's a rare afternoon video. I came across a story. I do Google searches pretty much every day on Aaron Carter. I am very curious as to his COD. As we know, that was deferred. And every day, about every day or maybe every other day, I'll do a search to see if they came back yet, because it usually takes 2 months, the toxicology. And so today I went to do a search and I kind of missed a story that came out about a day or two ago. And this solves another mystery. About the day before yesterday, today's Thursday, this was Tuesday, all day long, I was getting notifications on my phone that there was, YouTube videos, YouTube comments, people were watching, people were liking. And for the life of me, I could not find, it was none of my new videos, and I couldn't figure this out. And so when I did the search today, my usual day or two search to see if the toxicology came back yet, it solved this mystery. A lot of people must have been searching Aaron Carter's name, and they were probably short views, because this is, the stuff I talked about wasn't a new story. So I kind of solves the mystery of why I was getting notifications off the hook 2 days ago. Okay, I don't like just giving you guys a news story and rehashing it. I'll have the links down below for this story. Whenever there's stories like this, I used for 2.5 decades. And inevitably, whenever I hear a story like this, bam, right in my head, I will think of a very similar situation. This is one thing I learned as soon as I got clean and started going to NA. I preferred AA groups. I've told you guys that before. AA groups I found them less judgmental, because I was on MAT, medically assisted treatment, methadone. And a lot of NA groups, or not a lot, but some are very judgmental when it comes to methadone. So I preferred AA groups. They were more open, they were bigger, and I preferred them. But when I first started going to these, I found that I was not alone. That it was just similar stories. We all had very similar stories, and it was a sense of brotherhood, fellowship is the word I was looking for. A sense of fellowship, because a lot of times I felt like such a loser. I did. You keep all these secrets. They say secrets kill you. Your secrets will kill you, and that's the truth. And so whenever I see a story like this, it'll inevitably, something will pop into my mind that I totally forgot about. That's what I'm going to talk about today. All right, the story here. This is the story from a day or two ago. Aaron Carter, his fiance, Melanie Martin, 30 years old. I guess Aaron Carter was 34. Melanie Martin, his fiance or ex-fiance, and along with his mother, June, or is it Jane? June Carter. No, Jane Carter. Jane Carter. June Carter is Johnny Cash's wife, right? Anyway, the two of them talked a little bit about this just recently. So this is the big story. This is why my phone was going to the notifications were going off the hook. This is people searching for more input on this. Maybe the cause of death came through, and it hasn't come through yet. But a little more information. They talked about, they believe his mother and his fiance or ex-fiance believed that it was a drug overdose, and they talked about compressed air. Aaron talked before about how he sounded very shameful of it, about huffing, and that would be something, inhalants, and empty pill bottles they talked about. This is his mother, and like I said, the links will all be below for this. But one thing they said is in the initial autopsy, there was no water found in his lungs, meaning he did not drown. So more than likely it was an overdose. That's their view on it. There was one other big thing that, this is the news that came out that they talked about. They said they found a text message or several text messages from a unnamed or undisclosed person that night when he passed, when Aaron Carter passed. And the text went back and forth, something like this. The unknown person was saying how Aaron owes him $800 for some particular undisclosed substance. Then I guess Aaron texts back something along the lines that he doesn't believe that, he doesn't think he'll be needing it. So it sounds like he's trying to get out of paying for this $800 worth of unknown substance. And the unknown person or dealer texts back, doesn't matter. You got to pay up anyway. And it's kind of left off there. So it's kind of looking like more than likely this deal probably happened. And, he was definitely, not definitely, but, even his family thinks that he was in contact with, he was, it's more than likely it was a drug overdose. And like I said, that's a news story. Right off the bat, this reminded me, I had totally forgotten about this. I had totally forgotten. It reminded me of a situation in my life. I was using rock. I'll just call it rock here because I don't want to get yellow lighted. Rock, cocaine, and I had a particular dealer that was always there. I had the phone. I used the phone, whenever I needed him. And it got to this point when a lot of dealers wouldn't do this. He would just ask me, totally out of the blue. It doesn't matter if you don't have money. I'll front it to you. No problem. Not a whole lot of dealers do that. Very few. And in the back of your head, there's a reason. But this is the problem with drug addiction. Nothing else matters. You're being set up for a trap. There's a reason. He's not doing it because he likes you, because he thinks he's he's a good guy. He thinks he thinks you're a good guy. He's your friend. No, man. He is using you. But it didn't matter. So, and then when I would say no, he'd pull out some right in front of me. Here you go. Here, I swear to you. Here, take this. Go ahead. Pay me later. And after I had been using all day, there was absolutely no way I could say no, because you have Jones, we call it, withdrawals, and there was no way. So this happened quite a bit. And then my supposed friends, the people I used with, found out about this. So they would come over to my house all the time. Well, Daryl doesn't need money. If we don't need money, Daryl doesn't need money. They'd go over just to hang out with me. They wouldn't bring it up right away. Hey, why don't you call that guy? Why don't you call your buddy? So they could come over after they used up all their money or whatever their substance was, and come over because I didn't need money. I had connections. I was in, man. Looking back, I was being used by everybody. I was being used by the dealer. I was being used by the people who, I don't even want to call them friends. But I was being used by everybody, and there was going to be consequences, and there was. I don't know about how long this was after, but it got to a point where the bill got into 4 digits. Let's just say that, and I started avoiding him. I knew I was already in trouble, so I just stopped. I stopped answering his calls. This is back when we had answering machines and in-house phones and answering machines. And there was a bunch of messages from him, and they just got more and more serious. One thing I didn't mention is this guy was in what he liked to call a club, MC. It had a few initials before that, but initial MC, meaning motorcycle club. Now I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm sure you've heard of them. So he this was in my mind before I started doing this. I knew better, but yet I couldn't say no. It got to the point where one night he called, and I don't know how to put this threat. He said I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but he was going to drive by. He was going to drive by, and there would be some holes in my house. Something along those lines. I can't tell you. I can't say here in the video exactly his exact words. I still remember this. This was about 20 years ago. And I knew this was no empty threat. I had ignored him, and I was into him for a lot of money. My supposed friends were nowhere to be found. Didn't want to know nothing. They weren't coming over no more. They got their use out of me. So I was scared. And this is the part that even gets worse, that I'm even more ashamed of. I called my family because I had no other option. My family, and here's where it even gets even worse. I overestimated by like twice as much how much I owe this guy. I said, you know, you got to help me. I'm sorry. I got myself in the jam. I admit it. You know, I made a mistake. I'm using, but oh my God, I'm in trouble. Please help me. You know, I'll owe you. You know, instead of the whatever amount that I really owed him, I doubled it. Why did I do that? Why do you think I did that? So that I could just go out and use. So, you know, my family member was very upset, crying, brought the money over. Never again, Daryl, never again. You know, I can't believe, you know, what's wrong with you, Daryl? And, you know, I took that money and I bought even more. And I paid the bill. Usually I wouldn't have even paid the bill. I would just taken the money and said, screw the bill, and gone and bought more and got myself in even more trouble. But I knew this guy was not fooling around, that if I didn't call him back, I actually went to his house. And the weird thing is he didn't even come out and meet me. He didn't even come out to talk to me. I don't know why. His girlfriend met me in the foyer and said, Daryl's here. And you just take the money. I gave her the money and I never saw him again. He never even came out of the back room where he was. And that was the last time I ever saw him. But it's similar to Aaron Carter and these deals. When you get into these obligations, you know, you're not signing any contracts or anything like that, but there are big consequences, you know, and I knew that. I knew that at the time, and I got used by everybody. Life is a lot different now. You know, the people that are my friends, I know I can count on. They actually like me for me and not for the substances I can get. Yeah, life is good and recovery is possible. The links will be down below. You guys have a great Thursday.